Pakistan, import and exports are the real backbone of any country. To talk about impact of import and export towards the development of Pakistan, we have with us today our honorable speaker, Mr. Anjum Nisar. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anjum Nisar is an MBA from IBA University of Karachi. He is currently serving as a Managing Director, Anjum Asif Private Limited. He has served Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a President and Export Processing Zone Authority as a Director. Served in various educational institutions as a member of Board of Governors. He has been awarded a gold medal for rendering services to the business community of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, I request all of you to please welcome our honorable guest, Mr. Anjum Nisar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very Honorable Professor Dr. Tawiman Sahab, Mr. Ahmad Raza Zaidi, who is the Chairman of Karachi Branch Council ICMAP, Mr. Najam Ali, who is the CEO Next Capital Limited, Dr. Amjad Wahi Sahab, who is the CEO NEFTA Funds Limited, ladies and gentlemen, persons of the media, Assalamu alaikum. The subject that has been given to me, I also appreciate the presence of Dr. Junaid, my elder brother, and my teacher as well. The subject today that has given to me is the role of import and exports under the current economic scenario. And as most of you sitting here know that Pakistan is passing through difficult times, difficult economic crisis, and although this year, that is the year 2009-10, with the hard efforts of private sector, we have been able to surpass our export target, which was 18.8 billion, and we have achieved around $19.4 billion. But again, I always say that the target set by the government was too low with the size of the country that we have. Imports, also we have met the target. In fact, imports were down by 2.3% to $34.2 billion. And luckily, with the efforts of our expatriate Pakistanis based outside Pakistan, we have again received a record remittance of $8.7 billion, a quantum leap as compared to last year's. But again, as I said earlier, the size of exports, the target set by the government for a country like Pakistan with a population of 180 million people, sixth largest country in the world as far as the population is concerned, the target was set too low. If I'm not going to compare with European countries or Northern American countries or Japan, but even if we compare in our nearby region like Vietnam, Turkey, or other regions, if we compare per capita export, our target was too low, and we need to increase exports if we really have to change our quantum, if we have to see a change in our GDP growth. Today, the size of GDP growth in Pakistan is around $170 billion. If we just allow me to take a short tour from A to Z, starting with Austria, which is a small country in Western Europe with a population of just 8.4 million, has a size of $400 billion GDP. Again, a small country, Belgium, which is again in West Europe, with a population of just 10.6 million people, has a population of GDP size of $455 billion. Canada, although big country as far as the land is concerned, but population-wise has a only population of 34 million people, has a GDP size of $1,500 billion, $1.5 trillion. China, of course, a huge populated country, the world's most populous country, again has a GDP size of around $5.5 billion. Again, so we can go on like Denmark, a population of only with 5.5 million people, again has a GDP size of $350 billion. Same goes for Singapore. Even UAE, our neighboring, our neighbor country in the Middle East, has a population of only 6 million with a size of $270 billion GDP. So in order to go, in order to if we really want to see Pakistan in the next 10 years as a developed country, or in the next 15 years, we need to grow our GDP size. And how to increase our GDP size? I think there's only one way out, and that is to increase our exports, which are around $19 billion, or to be exact, $19.4 billion. Even last year, we were not able to achieve our revenue target, which was $13.80 billion, and we achieved only we were short by 70 billion rupees. This year we have set a target of 1,670 billion rupees, which we see is difficult to achieve under the current economic scenario. Also, the government claims that we need to improve our tax to GDP ratio, but if we see the ground reality, today the tax to GDP ratio, instead of increasing from 9 to 10%, has gone down slightly below 8.9%. The reason being that government has not brought all the sectors under the tax. If we just compare three major sectors, agriculture, which is today is about 21% of the total GDP size, is contributing less than 1% in the tax net. Same goes for the services sector, which is around 53% of the total GDP size, is contributing around 37% to the GDP. The only sector which is contributing more than its due share, the industrial sector, which is around 27% of the total GDP size, is contributing over 62% of the total tax revenue to the government. And that is the result that we have seen the cost of doing business going up, and as a result of that, we have seen closures in many areas, and that was also the result that we have seen the first time in the history of Pakistan, a negative growth of 14.7% during in the year 2008 and 9. Lately, we have seen some growth, which is 4% in this year, but I think we need to do more. Same goes for the investment to GDP ratio. Our investment to GDP ratio, which was around 23.6% in the year 2008 to 9, has gone down again to 21%. And also the saving rate, which was around 17% 3 years back, has gone down to around 13.5%. So and the other major issues which are faced today by our country, by Pakistan, I think today, if we have to rate the 5 major issues, the first is, I think, is obviously the law and order situation, which had badly hurt our economy. Then the energy crisis, the perception of Pakistan, that is the image of Pakistan, and then our debt issue, which has gone to $56 billion in the last 2 years. In the last just 2 years, we have grown our debt by around $20 billion, in fact, in 2.5 years. Although, still, we are much better off as compared to other countries, even if we compare with India, which has a debt to GDP ratio is around 80% in India, and Pakistan is around 55%. Also, Japan is 233%, Germany is 80%, US is also around 78%, but still we have to check, because as per constitution, we cannot go beyond 60% of our debt to GDP ratio. There are certain other reasons behind the, other than the 5 major factors that I has mentioned, the poor infrastructure, and then the number of items that we export to different countries are limited. Number of destinations are limited. Our 90% of our export goes to only about 10 top countries, and our 10% of that, our 10 top items also contribute around 85% of the total exports. So we need to increase our number of destinations all over the world, and also we have to increase the number of items that are produced or that should be available for the export market. Unfortunately, we do not have enough export surplus, and if we really have to go for the export surplus, we need to go for the export surplus only in the agriculture sector, which is the backbone of our economy. As I mentioned earlier, it is around 20% of the total size of our economy. And when we go for the export surplus, again, the major hindrance is the cost of inputs. Like energy, as I mentioned, first of all, energy is not available at all, and if it is available at a very high rate. We have to do something on a war footing, or